Good evening, parents, runners, and welcome to Irish Cross Country 2022. My apologies for not being there in person. I am Coach Jay McClelland, or a lot of people refer to me as Coach M, and I had a Twins ticket snafu where Twins tickets were purchased as part of our anniversary week, and not connecting the dots between that game and our meeting tonight. So I'm passing on my information virtually, and it might be a blessing in disguise because you might get out sooner than later. I wanted to leave you in good hands. Coach Youngs and Coach Paquette are here with you tonight based on what they told me today at practice. Yes, we have 2 days of practice under our belt, and that's going well. We worked them pretty hard on a hill workout today, so if they're a little sore, that's to be expected this time of the season. I wanted to start off just by sharing a little bit about my cross-country coaching philosophy, and Coach Youngs and I have kind of worked on it collaboratively, and I think we mesh pretty well together in our thinking, and that is to design a program where we meet kids where they are, and we want to guide them with their training plan that it's going to allow them to grow from where they are in a way that gets them to where they want to be, and ultimately to have a positive experience and be part of the family feel scene that is cross country. At least that's how I remember cross country, and that's how I know Coach Youngs feels about cross country and his experiences. So we know that kids join for a lot of different reasons, and it might be to improve for a different sport, just to stay in shape in general. Maybe it's just for the socialization of being out for an activity with friends and have fun. And then we know that, like myself and Coach Youngs, some of our runners have very competitive streaks and really want to just see what they're capable of and do the very best that they can do out on the course. And so we try to build a training plan that meets the needs of all our athletes. So there's flexibility built in. So especially new folks, it's important for them to understand, for all of you to understand as new folks, that you are not expected to do the same thing as a varsity runner who is a junior or senior that has been doing it for a lot of years. And so you measure your success and your growth based on where you are starting from. The beauty of cross country, as I've always said, is that everyone who trains gets to compete. And that wasn't always the truth for me in some of my team sports that I tried playing as a kid. You might work out every day at practice, but you might ride the bench, say in basketball, for example. And that's just the way it was, because they wanted the top 5 out on the court. And if you weren't one of the top 5, even though you were practicing and working hard every day at practice, you didn't always get to compete. And so I love cross country for that fact alone. Saying a few things about, some things I listed. Water is an important one. Obviously, we want kids to be working out but staying hydrated. During our preseason, it's a little tricky. We have no water capability right where we're at out at Nye Park. There's not a water fountain or anything there. So it's important for runners to bring their own water bottle and have that there for practice, and then drink up on that when they finish so that they stay hydrated. Times and places and locations for preseason. So just to clarify, if anybody's unsure after reading my emails or the handout calendar that you've been given. So the first 2 weeks of practice are going to be during the weekdays, 8 a.m. out at Nye Park. The calendar has kind of a reddish color box for those 2 weeks, except for one. So it's going to be the main Nye Park area, 8 a.m. for those days. On the 23rd, you'll notice in yellow on the calendar, the starting day or the starting time is still 8 a.m., but it's going to be out at the East Nye parking area. And we're going to do a hill workout out there. But so that takes care of that. The third week of preseason before school starts, there's 4 days in the afternoon at 3:15, meeting out still at Nye Park at the main park area. But trying to get used to the afternoons, plus it's teacher workshop week. So that works better for us teachers and that are trying to do that and coach. So then on Friday, September 2nd, is our first meet and is our home meet at Nye Park. And that's going to get rolling. First race will be kicking off at 8 a.m. at Nye Park. Otherwise, practices will be at 3:15 outside the activity center on the east side of the building. After school at 3:15. And if there happens to be rainy weather issues and we have to do an inside workout, we would meet in my classroom. So just to clarify that. I sent an email out today about trainer Dean Adams and his schedule for the next couple weeks. If any athletes have injury issues to contend with and need some attention. His office is across the hall from the weight room in the high school. I wanted to mention too, shoes. A lot of people have questions about shoes, especially new folks. And most important thing is to have a decent pair of training running shoes, specifically running shoes, not court shoes like you wear for basketball or tennis. And so where do you go to find specific running shoe? Well, you can go to the Nike outlet or somewhere like that. But if you want some advice from people that really know running, I would encourage you to go to a real running store. And the Endurance Shop, I sent a flyer out for a couple days this week where you can get a discount under the Maple Lake Irish name. And that's up in St. Cloud. And they're really knowledgeable and can help you out. Another one that I go to regularly that gives discounts to athletes that are part of a program is TC Runnings or Twin Cities Runnings. The one that I go to is in Maple Grove, just off Bass Lake Road. And I think it might be a 20% discount if you are part of a team. You can always call and ask and make sure. But definitely good training shoes with support, cushioning, and more, I think research is suggesting that the flatter the last, the better. In other words, some of the old 80s and 90s Nike shoes used to really emphasize the lifted heel, and the raised heel isn't necessarily good for injury prevention. So flatter last is better. There are some brands that actually lend themselves specifically to, they call it a zero drop shoe. So just a little bit of information on training shoes. And then they can also give you advice if you have any interest in spikes. Spikes are something typical for your varsity athletes in those races, but you do not need to have spikes to be able to race. So it's not imperative. We also have a bin of old spikes that kids have donated after they graduated that kids can try and see how spikes feel before they would decide if they wanted to buy any. You'll notice on the calendar some weekend practices, mostly on Saturdays, and those are optional. Suggested workouts for kids to do that want to continue training a little bit over the weekend. It's sort of designed with the serious varsity types in mind, or a JV kid who is hoping to make varsity. That's what those Saturdays are all about. Anybody obviously can do those workouts, and but that's who they were intended for. But if a junior high kid is really excited about what they're doing and want to get better, for sure, run on Saturdays. So I have recommended workouts on some of those Saturdays. I also included for the first time just some added meetup spots for some of the different Saturdays. And the goal the idea behind that was if it might just be fun as a group to meet somewhere different and maybe involve a treat in the plan. So like I have what's a scoop on one of the days, or I think a Perkins day after a run in Monticello. So it's just, again, not required, just throwing it out there as an idea. And if kids are interested during that week, and there's kids that say, yes, let's do it, then, well, I'll make it happen. At least I'll be there and plan to be there to help those kids with the practice. But if you have questions about that, please feel free to ask. There are some special ones, like the Saturdays going into the big meets for us, which would be the conference meet and the section meet. And so if kids can do the practices on weekends those weeks, varsity types especially, that would be probably my most important weekend workouts, considering MEA and that weekend right before that. So just check that out and consider it for weekend work. Also, the Maple Lake Challenge is kind of a fun one we do. It's a Saturday one where we run a course that's about 9 miles around Maple Lake. Some kids choose not to run it. They'll maybe bike around, or they'll do part of it and do an out and back. But then at the end of that workout run on Saturday, we have an ice cream feed in the school. So just something fun. And then if you do run the whole thing, or run it, whatever way you get there, on your legs, you can order a t-shirt. So a little bit about meets. Generally, meets are about 4 o'clock or 4:30, somewhere in there when they get started. Ours happens to be a morning one because school hasn't started yet. And mostly run on golf courses or area parks like Nye Park or Lake Rebecca Park, or school grounds. Some schools like Royalton have theirs right on their school grounds, and they have trails at their school. So it's going to vary from place to place where our location will be and what the course will be like. Holdingford, for example, one of our early ones, has a meet on their school grounds. The junior high distances will vary from 1 to 2 miles. Our home meet for junior high, their race course is 1.5 miles. Call it One Pond Loop because that's where they'll be doing their run. And the JV and varsity races, wherever you go, are approximately a 5K or 3.1 miles. So if you're a JV or varsity runner, that's what you would race every time. Bus times, sometimes we end up leaving early, and it does vary by meet, so I'll be giving information as meets are approaching so that you know if we leave early. And in the past, St. Tim's kids got picked up first before coming over and loading up the rest of us at the high school. And we meet on the north side of the building for pickup and then drop off of kids. So when we come back from our meet, that's where we'll unload the buses on the north side of the building, northeast side of the building, again near the weight room. So I will give you advance notice as meets approach, usually through email. On the return from a meet, we will send calls out about 15 minutes prior to getting back to school so parents can plan and pick up and not have to wait too long. I'm working on getting trained on the JMC app so I can send it out directly to your phone via text, I think. So I should have that up and running by the time we have our first away meet. I am, of course, always interested in parents. If parents want to become part of that cross-country family as their kids are getting involved in cross-country and you're going to be coming to meets and cheering on the kids, it's great and fun to get to know all of you as well. And so fun to see a crowd showing up. And So if you're there and you're taking some pictures and you get some good pictures of different kids or your kids and you want to share them, that would be great. Sometimes we can get them sent to the paper, but then we can compile them for the end of the season if we get a bunch of pics that we can just share with everyone, because it's kind of fun. Or if you want to contribute treats or donations, we have each sport needs to do a little help with concessions. And so we'll be signed up to do some concessions, probably at a football game or maybe some basketball games in the winter. And so if cross-country parents are willing to help out, and athletes as well, with concessions during those times, again, it just kind of keeps us unified, and the work is a lot less if we all kind of pitch in a little bit. But if you got old tarps laying around, it's nice to sometimes have that to set stuff on at meets. Or if you got an old pop-up canopy tent that's sitting in the garage that never gets used and you want to donate that, think about that, because it's nice to have some of those meets where it might be drizzly or a really hot sun, just to have that shade or that rain protection. So if parents are interested in getting involved, please reach out and let us know in what way you think you would like to contribute. But more than anything, it'd just be great to see you out there cheering on the kids. If athletes or parents have ideas about what else they'd like to see in the program to make it more fun and maybe get more kids interested, I'd love to hear some ideas, and so please share. But I'm looking forward to this season ahead of us together, and I hope I didn't wear you out too much with this video. But thanks again for being here tonight, and apologize again for not being there. But I will meet you all hopefully at our home meet, if not sooner. Thanks, and take care.